Chapter 23. There are no exceptions. When I first got introduced to the understanding that I'm sharing in this book, I wasn't convinced. I had come across many self-development models, and I approached everything with a healthy skepticism. This tactic had served me well in preceding years. It involved taking bits of techniques and ideas that worked for me and disregarding the rest. But regarding this new insight I was gaining, it surprised me that even though I didn't really believe I was learning 100%, it started to impact me in very positive ways. The moment I glimpsed the fact that I create all my experiences through the power of my thinking, my entire world began to change. I was no longer a victim of circumstances that had the power to make me feel a certain way. However, I still wasn't entirely convinced there were no exceptions to the rule that my feelings came from my thinking. I thought there had to be something that impacted my thinking or my feelings, whether it was a particular circumstance or someone's behavior. What I saw more and more deeply over a period of many months was that there are, in fact, no exceptions to this process. Your feelings always come from your thinking. I tested this concept over and over, often in ways described throughout this book, so that it gradually became not just some good idea that someone had shared with me, but one that was deepened by my own experience. Every time something happened that appeared to cause my feelings to change, I realized it didn't work that way. If I felt angry about certain circumstances or someone's behavior, when I stopped to really examine it, it became clear that the anger was a reflection of my thinking in the moment, not a reflection of something happening outside of me. The same held true for positive feelings. They didn't come from the new job, the pay rise, the relationship, or anything else. Regardless of how much it looked that way, they too came from my thoughts. Realizing that there were no exceptions became incredibly helpful to me in dealing with challenging people and circumstances, because it made me see there are no challenging people or circumstances. There is only my thinking about people or circumstances. I don't ask anyone to believe me or to have faith that this is the way experience of life is created, but I do often ask clients to explore this understanding in their own minds. What would it mean for their current situation or problem if 100% of how they felt about it was generated by their own thinking? When I ask myself this question, and I still do it often, it turns the problem on its head. I usually end up seeing I'm trying to fix a problem that never existed. Many times, my only problem is that I'm feeling bad and I think it's because of something or someone outside of my control. So I try to change that rather than realizing it is my thinking that is creating the feeling. A counterintuitive implication of this is that there is often nothing to do. Our thinking changes naturally when we leave it alone. If our minds don't create feelings based on anything outside of us, then any problem is purely one of our own imagination. Wow, that last line. If our minds don't create feelings based on anything outside of us, then any problem is purely one of our own imagination. It doesn't look like that, does it? Particularly when you start to go to, what we'd call big problems, problems in our lives, in the workplace, in the world. It looks like there really are problems. It doesn't look like a problem is a way of thinking about something, but it is. That's exactly what it is. A problem is a way of thinking about something. It isn't something in and of itself. I don't think I've ever said that before. So I don't actually want to say any more about that chapter than that. A problem is a way of thinking about something. It isn't something in and of itself. Love to know what you hear of that one. See you on the next chapter.